What's up? Welcome back to another proven sales letter breakdown video. This is the 98th edition, so we're almost finished with the 100-day challenge, but that doesn't mean I have some boring stuff for you. In fact, quite the opposite. I have an amazing sales letter written by Stefan Georgi. Yes, the Stefan Georgi from Copy Accelerator and from the Stefan and Justin Talk Copy Facebook group. And this one is a health offer that he wrote. It's called Stem Cell Restore, and it's a great example of a really long form sales letter that basically includes everything. So this is more of an advanced type of sales letter breakdown. So if you haven't watched my previous videos yet, or you're not familiar with stuff like fascinations or the lead or the unique mechanism of the problem and solution or dimensionalization or stuff like that, I highly encourage you that you watch some of the other videos from the Proven Sales Letter Breakdown playlist. I'm going to leave a link to the entire playlist in the description section. Go check it out because there's 97 other videos there that you can check out. And the earlier ones are a bit more easier. And, you know, this one, as we're getting closer to the end, I wanted to include this as like the raid boss of this challenge. And because of that, because the sales page for this is like 60 pages long, I'm gonna break this video down into two sections. So in this one, we're going to focus in the first half of the sales letter up until the product reveal, which is at the halfway mark. And then in the next one, I'm going to talk more about the offer. We're going to present all the benefits, all the closing copy, stuff like that. But I want to go into more detail when it comes to basically everything. And as you can see, you know, there's plenty of yellow highlighting here with plenty of comments. So this is going to be quite the treat for you if you enjoy copywriting and if you want to like discover the secrets of a sales letter, which is like bang on. So this is as high as it gets, guys. Stefan Georgi is one of the best copywriters at the moment. Probably he's not working anymore because he has Copy Accelerator and a few other things, products and everything, but kudos to him. This one is great. And as I was reading it many times, I felt like, you know, this is a real masterclass in high-level direct response copywriting. So if you enjoy these videos, then make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed yet, and also make sure to share this with others because there's no in-depth analysis like this out there on YouTube, especially not a full playlist made up of 90 plus videos of these types of analysis. And I want to ask you to help me spread the word on this. But anyway, let's get into the promotion itself. And the lead, I'm gonna also read it to you as we go through it, like most of it, and then the story aspects and everything, we're going to skim through it while covering all the comments that I did here. So the pre-head starts with like a time capsule in a bottle. And then the headline says, new stem cell breakthrough doesn't just pause the aging process, it rewinds it. So actually the product we're selling here is a supplement. It's an anti-aging, antioxidant type of supplement, and the unique mechanism is the stem cell stuff, right? And sure, you can just try to sell the supplement itself, but Stefan Georgi went above and beyond to really create a lead that grabs attention, builds a lot of this desire and curiosity here, and also really it establishes the whole big idea as this true unique new opportunity. So the pre-head itself, it's an interesting analogy, like a time capsule in a bottle. It's immediately graspable for people. They have an idea, oh, okay, wow, that sounds interesting. And then, you know, it's something new. We've seen this before. This kind of reminds me a little bit you know, Eugene Schwartz comes to mind because he had some similar headlines like this. Again, link to the full playlist. I've broken down at least 3 or something Eugene Schwartz promotion before. And he's the guy who basically invented half of copywriting, modern day copywriting. So I recommend you check it out. But this headline conveys the idea that this is something new, something exciting. It's a breakthrough. So it's a unique new opportunity, which doesn't just pause aging, it rewinds it. And I like the little design tweak here in red, it rewinds it. This is the unique promise, and it gets people reading more because they want to find out, like, how is that even possible? So since this is a pretty big promise, and we're going to play off this promise a little bit later, but we're also going to have some proof elements here. And I think I learned this from Clayton Makepeace. He always included some proof elements either in the pre-head or after the headline, because as Gary Bencivenga said, whenever you make a promise, especially a bold or unique promise, you have to back it up with unquestionable proof. Otherwise, people are going to be jaded by this. And the target audience for this is older seniors who have potential health problems. On average, they lean to the right, so they're more likely Republicans or conservatives. Some of them are even Christian, or they have strong family values, strong conservative values, and they've seen a lot of promotions before, because this market, they have a lot of money and they have a lot of health problems. So obviously many companies are trying to pitch them all sorts of services and products and whatnot. So their skepticity level is pretty high. So that's why you have to go above and beyond as a copywriter to really be different. So that's also the reason why it's not enough to just have this as the headline. You kind of need a subhead as well. And the subhead says, it has several things going for it. First of all, imagine going back in time to when you were the healthiest, sharpest, most radiant version of yourself, then staying that way for the rest of your life. So I think this is an NLP technique. It makes people visualize, the good old times, like how there were better times when they were younger. I'm sure most of these people have some fond memories back then, and they start reminisce about these things, and that brings up some pleasant emotions, which they'll associate with reading this thing. So right off the bat, we're setting up the whole context so that they actually are more likely to consume more parts of the sales letter itself. And the more they consume, the more likely they are to buy. So then the second line says, it's not science fiction, it's the power of stem cell research. This hints at some futuristic aspect to it, and also it goes well with the opportunity, the unique new opportunity. Then we have a little part that seeds the consumption element more. It says, keep reading this report to see why experts believe this is the closest we'll ever get to a real-life fountain of youth. So we also have a reason why element here. And if you check out some of Gary Bencivenga's stuff, including my breakdown videos, I think I broke down like 7 of Gary Bencivenga's promotions. He's one of my copywriting superheroes, so that's why. But he was, again, big on reason why, as other copywriters as well. But I learned this from Gary Bencivenga first. So reason why, always give people a logical explanation of also like why they should care about the whole thing. Yes, you're going to build a lot of emotions in them. That's crucial. But you also have to give them a reason why they should consume the content. Just like Simon Sinek, in his book, Start With Why. I mean, that's the reason why. Start with why. People want a why. And then I love the little analogy here, or I don't know, maybe it's a metaphor. It's, this is as close we'll ever get to a real life fountain of youth. So most people in this target audience, they probably are familiar with the concept of a fountain of youth. If we just said this is the fountain of youth, that would be too much. That would be overkill, and it would trigger their bullshit detectors. But as close we'll ever get, it kind of makes it more believable. So it's still a strong promise, but more believable. And then we get a tease to a proof element as well, because if we make a lot of promises, we got to back it off with proof. So it says, plus the remarkable story of how 22 Nobel Prize winning scientists came together to get this discovery to the public. So this part is seeding an interesting story, and it gives some proof elements, because it immediately conveys that, hey, this is real stuff, like 22 Nobel Prize winning scientists. So we're not messing around here. And we're still not done. So think about building desire. Sometimes this is how you build it. Like you just pile on all these things that are super interesting, that build curiosity and desire as well. So the final subhead bullet says, and why, even though A-list celebrities and world-class athletes demand access to this youth-preserving breakthrough at any cost, the latest science has discovered a breakthrough new way to naturally restore stem cells for only pennies a day. So, wow. First of all, we have some proof, again, because A-list celebrities and world-class athletes are using this. You know, a lot of people are wondering, like, what's the secret of those high performers, of those high achievers? I want to discover their secrets. And we hint at it. We don't give it away, not most of it at least, because whenever you have a secret lead or something like that, you definitely don't want to give away the secret. You just want to tease it, and then eventually the product gives it away. Or in this case, since we're dealing with a supplement here, we can give away most of it, but only later. So that's why the sales letter is longer here as well. So, but we still imply, you know, the youth-preserving breakthrough. And very important, this new opportunity, this unique new opportunity is also cheap. So it's available to you as well, to the everyman, to the layperson. It's available. Up until now, it was like this. This is just like the myth of, you know, Prometheus bringing down fire from the gods. And I love this analogy because it's just like that. So the person who is the voice behind this whole thing, obviously Stefan Georgi wrote it, but the guru, or the name of the company that he wrote it for, you know, he's the voice behind this whole thing. And he is positioned as this helpful person who is there to help the everyman in the target audience, and they goes up to the gods, basically steals fire from them, gets excommunicated for it, and gets punished by it because, you know, all those corrupt gods doesn't want you to know, the big pharma, crooked Wall Street, all those people, you know, common enemies that are this target audience hate, they don't want our voice, our prophet here to bring down the fire to them. But this is exactly what our guru here promises. And it's gonna, this whole concept is going to be unpacked later as well, but it's very important because it builds the crucial know, like, and trust factor in people. So yeah, quite a breather. 12 minutes, and we are only past the headline here, headline complex. And I mean, there's so many things going on here, and that's why I said this is an advanced masterclass here. And if you enjoyed the video, then smash the like button right now. It's very important for the algorithm. And I also appreciate it. But let's get further here. So the sales letter starts like this. Dear friend, did you ever bury a time capsule as a kid? If you were to dig it up today, you'd find a snapshot of what your life was like when you were young. Well, what I want to tell you about today is being referred to by many health experts as a time capsule in a bottle, because it represents the latest breakthrough in ethical stem cell science, something that comes in the form of a single, tiny, and easy to swallow pill, and each time you take one of these tiny time capsules, it sends your body on a journey back in time so that you start to look and feel like you did when you were young. So wow, a lot of things already going on here. First of all, it starts with a philosophical question like, hey, like who starts with this, right? Does this seem like an aggressive marketing promotion to you, to the target audience? No, it seems like almost like a documentary movie. So if you create like a video version of this, and I'm sure that there probably was or is a video version of this, this is the written sales page version, then it kind of like you watch it just like a documentary. There's no mention of the product for like 25 pages. And there's no, like, also a pricing box or something. It comes way, way, way down. And that's intentional because we don't want to trigger people. We want to position this as something super useful, valuable, as a breakthrough special report or something like that. So that's also one of the reasons why, you know, we start with a question like this. I mean, what other ad starts with this? Nothing. And the great thing about this question is that it triggers like a nostalgia factor. It gets people again reminiscing about the all those good days that have passed when they were young, when they were, I don't know, freshly married and they were in love, and there was a more simpler time, let's say, because, you know, always people, when they look back, it seems more positive than it was. It seems simpler, it seems better, it seems like nostalgia. And I like this because it creates an emotional appeal in people and it gets them reading more. So then we set some expectations by saying that, you know, what I'm about to tell you today, and then we hint at the interesting secret, which is this time capsule in a bottle. We also mention that this is a single, tiny, and easy to swallow pill. So it is literally a magic pill. Like, talk about people always want the magic pill, but most people know that it's not realistic. Like, a magic pill doesn't exist. But this is as close as possible to getting to the magic pill, as close as possible to getting to the fountain of youth, right? I think it's very powerful because it highlights that, you know, even though this involves like Nobel Prize winning scientists, and I, as the reader, I'm just some random schmuck, average Joe who like wants something easy, it is possible for me as well. And we also promised that we're going to shift their perspective a little bit because it will be, like, after reading this, it will be possible to basically reverse your body a little bit and then travel back through time to feel younger again, just like those good old days. And another subtle advanced thing here that happened here, ethical stem cell science, I think this is intentional because if our target audience is right-wing leaning in most cases and more conservatives, they don't want these animal experiments, these very unethical type of experiments, and especially they don't want experiments on fetuses, because in many cases, you know, they extract these stem cells from the placenta and also some fetuses or something like that. I don't know exactly the science of it, but I know that it's nasty stuff, and it probably triggers a lot of people. And if many people knew where their drugs came from, they would probably never take it. So it's important to highlight that this is ethical. So there's a way to do this ethically as well. And I think this creates even more of a know, like, and trust here, more of a rapport building with them. So we have some more nostalgia here, we have a little bit of proof here, and then we also get a tease of all the benefits that our readers are going to experience after they, you know, consume this information. And all these are major pain points for our target audience. So we have, itching, screaming joints are suddenly soothed and calmed as the pain they've dealt with for years vanishes before their eyes. Notice how this is a great example of show, don't tell. You know, in copywriting, we have this show, don't tell thing, which basically means that you shouldn't try to just, you should try to paint a mental picture in people, because we're visual creatures and there's not much difference between really seeing something with our eyes or just imagining something. They both trigger the same brain regions here in the back of the head. And since we're so visual, that's why NLP works so well as well, neuro-linguistic programming, and all these bullets here, they're super dimensionalized. I love it. And again, I learned this from Clayton Makepeace. He was the master of like these dimensionalized emotions and pain points and fears and hopes and dreams and everything. And this works really hard at building desire for the product in people, because yes, they want to get rid of screaming joints. They want to be they want to have glowing skin once again. They want to get rid of wrinkles, and they want they see new hair sprouting from their head with a full glossy sheen. Again, very, very visual things here, very intentionally done. So then we have an even bigger promise, because so we're raising the stakes. We make it even, like, you know, people, but especially in this audience, but everywhere else, they're always looking for a way to basically click away from your page and just find something that's wrong with your promotion, because they don't have time for your bullshit. They're not interested in your product. They're not interested in you. They don't care about it. The only way why they're here is because some great copywriter funneled them here from a Facebook ad. Probably not a Facebook ad, because this wouldn't really be compliant, especially not nowadays, but probably from an email list or several email lists with a great email that teased something, you know, teased this breakthrough discovery. So people are here, but make no mistake, they're actively looking for a way to just find something that's wrong, find something that triggers them, and then get away for real, and then they won't come back. And that's why you really have to work hard for every paragraph, for every line, for every word even, to earn its place so that people don't bounce. And that's why notice how we're piling on the benefits more and more. We're making it even more interesting here. So it says, and while these changes to their physical appearance may seem astounding, they barely scratch the surface of what the latest advances in stem cell science can do. You see, and then we get a little tease at the unique mechanism, which basically says that, you know, there are these stem cells which are the most important anti-aging breakthrough, and they're kind of like blank state cells, and whenever you have damage in your body, they can activate and then form specialized cells. Well, the problem is that as you age, these stem cells, the number of them gets lower and lower, and your body cannot start repairing itself, and that's why everything starts breaking down, and that's what aging is actually, which is kind of true. So I love how this part basically just teases the unique mechanism here, teases all this stem cell stuff, but it's all you focused. So it even says, and the most beautiful thing about stem cells is that they don't care how or why that damage happened in the first place. They don't care if your heart is weak due to a lifetime of bad habits like an unhealthy diet of smoking, or if your skin is wrinkled. You know, it's very... Stefan Georgi did an excellent job here, because this promotion could easily turn, especially at this point, into some scientific mumbo jumbo type of thing that again phases people out, and they're gonna tune out because it becomes boring for them. And the way to avoid that is to make it you focused, and is to always have a cool balance between the scientific stuff and the boring rational stuff and the emotional part as well. And I think he did a great job here, just keeping attention and getting people more and more invested into this. So then we reiterate the promise once again, and we have some copy which again, it promises new things. This part is all made up of promises and contextualization. You know, it promises that it's gonna give them instant pain relief, instant gratification. Again, it's as close as we can get to a magic pill type of thing. And then, very interestingly, you know, at this point we have, you know, a bunch of promises, some proof elements. It's an amazing lead, but we pile on even more interesting things by introducing a whole new angle. And this angle is that, you know, there are the Hollywood A-listers, the world-famous athletes, the Silicon Valley billionaires, and all these people, the insiders, have become obsessed with stem cell therapy. And as they continue to grow richer, they are growing younger too. So at this point, our target audience is like, I always knew that those smug bastards are doing something, like they're drinking the, I don't know, the blood of virgin children or something like that. You know, there are also people who believe in these things. But most people, they just believe that, you know, these people in Hollywood, these world famous athletes, they have some sort of unfair advantage, some sort of secret. And finally, you know, this is where the Prometheus analogy that I mentioned a few minutes ago comes back again by saying that, you know, I, as the voice of this whole promotion, so not Stefan Georgi, but the guru who he's writing for, I basically went to all these gods, to the A-listers and world famous athletes, and I have stolen their secrets, and now I want to give it to you cheaply even. So it's an incredibly strong value proposition here, and it's super interesting. And I'm sure that you agree. If you do, leave a comment. Let me know if you find this interesting. I want to know, because to me, this is definitely interesting, not just from a copywriting perspective, but also as I was just reading this, as a normal person, this is super interesting. And I want to know more. Like, it just keeps my attention. And we also have like a little price anchor here by saying that, you know, the ultra-rich have been shelling out $100,000 or more for stem cell treatments, which is obviously like way out of reach for most people. But this will serve greatly later on when we introduce the product and give a special price, and it's gonna seem like a freaking bargain. So we're gonna introduce, increase the perceived value of the product a bit until then. there's so many things going on here, guys. I think even this video is going to be like 1 hour long, but if you appreciate it, then like the video, subscribe to the channel, because this is, I think it's really valuable, and I sure have a blast doing these things, and I have these nerdgasms right now. So I also love this little paragraph here. It says, I'm going to share how an accidental discovery by 6 University of South Florida scientists that happened nearly 13 years ago to the day has made it possible for anyone to finally enjoy the benefits of ethical stem cell science for just pennies on the dollar. So I love this because it gives specificity to people. You know, it seems like a real story here. Like, who would make this up 13 years ago to this day? And like, hey, 6 university, not 5, not a dozen, but 6. And it also teases that there's going to be a discovery story, which is going to be paid off later on. So this is kind of like an open loop as well, while also setting expectations that if you read more, you're going to discover all about these interesting scientists, for example. And it also reminds people of the big promise. So again, like, Stefan Georgi is such a master here. He, like, so many things going on here. But at the same time, we also have some objection handlings, you know, going back through embryos and abortions, like, hey, this has nothing to do with abortions, because in most cases, you know, stem cell research is done when some women have abortions, and then those dead fetus and placenta, like, they do experiments on them and then do all these stem cell stuff. So in this case, this is called adult repair stem cells, right? So this is intentionally done to position this as something ethical. Very important for this target market. Just like the Christian market, for example, like, it's so important for, if you want to sell them some sort of Bible-related stuff or faith-related stuff, you just have to basically tell them what they already believe, like validate their already existing beliefs, and build a rapport with them by showing that you also have faith, for example, and then they're going to buy it, because it's not about the marketing techniques or like the persuasion triggers or something like that. It's about like really connecting with that audience, and once they feel like you and them are in the same group, they're going to become great customers. So again, a lot of things going on here, but this is, by the way, still part of the lead. So the lead is usually the first like 100 to like 500 words of copy, but in this part, in this case, the lead goes all the way down to like here until the authority build-up section. So it's a pretty long, but it's needed because the sales page itself is super long. So we have a bunch of these open loop elements here. We have things like, and as you're going to see in the next 5 minutes, or like in a moment, so I'm going to tell you more about this in a moment, but first, you know, we have these open loop things, very important again to get the average consumption period longer. And then, you know, at this point, we're making a lot of promises. And remember, whenever we make a lot of promises, we got to back it off with a lot of great proof. So it says the stem cell breakthrough I'm sharing with you is backed by the findings of an unprecedented group of 22 Nobel Prize winning scientists. So at this point, you know, we introduced the benefits part and some, like, these, a few personal stories. Then we introduced this insider and this common enemy, or like, you know, mini gods type of thing here. And then now we introduce the scientific part of it as well, because this is what gives extra motivation behind creating this promotion, this sales page itself. So the guru behind this even says, you know, this like a diverse group of geniuses who are actually so stubborn in their opinions, they often have trouble agreeing on what the temperature is outside. So they have joined forces in a desperate effort to get the newest advancement in stem cell science to the American public. So imagine how extraordinary and how unique this has to be if it even got those old farts to like finally agree on something. 22 of them, in fact, all with big egos and big, very impressive track records as scientists. So this must be something really, really important. And this in itself is a very strong proof element. So then, after the proof element, we even have 3 bullets which act kind of like a trailer to these proof elements. Stefan Georgi says that, you'll hear more about these Nobel Prize winners in their heroic efforts in just a few moments, and how, NHL players have recovered from injuries or stroke, how this PGA golfer, managed to heal his back pain at the age of 86, all with stem cells. So it kind of feels like a documentary movie, like a trailer for a documentary movie. It's crazy, but this is, again, a hallmark of a great long-form sales page, that it doesn't feel like a marketing pitch. It feels like something interesting, extraordinary, something new, something exciting, because that's what gets people reading more. So at this point, we introduce yet another element here, and all these things will be unpacked later in the main sales page itself, but we want to build some intrigue and desire for these things up front. And this is the conspiracy angle, like how, there are many people in the scientific community who hate me for sharing the information inside this report. So this has a strong, like, common enemy type of theme to it, and us versus them. Again, we, the honest, hardworking folks, the middle class or something like that in America, or maybe even like lower middle class, and then them, the scientific community, or the crooked Wall Street fat cats, or all these various groups that our target audience hates. Also liberals. Like, I think this target audience definitely doesn't like very left-leaning people. So we still have some reason why elements here, some qualification. Let me just read it to you, because this is the end of the lead, and I think it's important to nail the end of the read itself. So it says, it's important that I do warn you, there are many in the scientific community who hate me for sharing the information inside this report. I don't make the statement to be dramatic or self-important or anything like that. It's the stone cold truth. So this is kind of like objection handling, because this might seem like some people might roll their eyes and feel like, oh, come on, again with the common enemy type of things. But the voice in the sales letter itself preemptively says, this might seem like it's over the top, but it's not. This is the truth. And then we can even get a reason why behind this fact and why this is the truth. So it says, and the reason why is because if you're one of the millions of Americans who is 55 plus and whose body and mind is starting to break down, again, notice that this also qualifies people, 55 plus Americans who have health problems, this newest advancement in stem cell science won't just support your body against the ticking clock of father time, this is a promise, it could also mean billions of dollars in lost money to health insurers, drug companies, for-profit medicine, nursing homes, funeral parlors, and everyone else who is planned on getting rich off your old age. So here's the conspiratorial angle, as right in front of your eyes. Which is why, I don't know, does this make sense to you guys? If you do, leave a comment. I definitely would like to know. Maybe it's just for me, but I think it kind of is visible here that Stefan Georgi was actively trying to establish a common enemy here. But the copy then continues, which is why I'm making a lot of enemies by pushing this information online, and why, if you're ready to not just pause the aging process, but actually rewind it too, it's crucial you read this report in its entirety right now while it's still available on the web. So this is the urgency that we have here, some intrigue, some urgency, and the reason why behind the urgency. We're not just saying, only available for 24 hours because, I don't know, I gotta have scarcity and urgency in my funnels because, I don't know, some marketing guru told me to. No, it's logical, it makes sense, and I'm sure it connects with the target audience. So this is the end of the lead. I think it's a great lead, and sometimes rewriting leads can double or triple even the response rate of a sales letter. So sometimes, people change these leads, but I'm sure this is working incredibly well because it's just so well done. Congratulations to it. But at this point, we shift into the story, the personal type of story part here. And as always, we've seen this before. We have like an authority build-up section here from Lee Euler. he is the guru behind this whole thing. He seems like, a guy who is in our target audience, I don't know, 55 or something. He seems like a great person, founder and editor of Aging Defeated newsletter, and author of Top 10 Anti-Aging Breakthroughs of the 21st Century. So yeah, he definitely seems like a folk hero in this case. And I love the fact that this subhead itself, it's kind of like the personal reason why behind his mission of trying to save the world, basically. So we have this authority build-up. We have his like a short version of his personal nightmare story, which shows a lot of vulnerability, which coincidentally builds a lot of trust for him. Vulnerability, it creates a lot of trust in people because if you were so sleazy, you wouldn't be sharing those vulnerable things unless you were some super narcissistic psychopath. But he tells the story of how his mom basically got Alzheimer's, or basically withered away, unfortunately. And then even after she died, and he even says, but if I'm being honest, she'd been dead inside long before her last breath. So this is really, really powerful and emotional. And I'm sure that at this point, people in the target audience who, again, remember, they're conservative, they're maybe Christian, they value life, they're pro-life, they're probably are going to say like, oh my God, this poor soul, poor Lee Edith Euler, I'm going to like pay attention more here because I want to learn more what happened next. But basically, the reason for this story is to build some rapport with people, but also to see the idea of going on this emotional discovery journey, like having a deep motivation, the reason why behind discovering these stem cell breakthrough things, because they don't happen by accident. And it's way better to do it like this than to say that, I wanted to make more money, so I founded a company that did research on stem cell research. No, this is a way better way, and I'm sure that is true as well. And in many cases, sometimes people have these strong internal motivations to do something, to really discover something new because they had some personal trauma or something like that. So this part then sets up another part, which is like even more personal reason why. Like, yet, he had money and everything, respect and fame and everything, but he was still powerless to protect the people he loved most. And this is really powerful. And this set up a chain reaction, which led him discovering some new breakthrough secret. So the subhead says, and so I began to put all my money, time, and resources towards one goal and one goal only, to help advance the field of anti-aging as much as humanly possible. So here we unpack this reason why behind his discovery journey or story even more, and we introduce some common topics that our target audience might be familiar with. Like we mentioned stem cells here first, we mentioned anti-aging, telomeres. Our target audience might have heard about these things before. So it's important to establish this, again, to just showcase that, yes, you understand them and you and the audience are on the same level, right? And then you can help each other. We have some proof elements after that, like I became obsessed with stem cells, and we have some headlines here, and we can see Harvard Medical School, Journal of Gerontology, the Einstein College of Medicine study, great stuff here that built some proof here as well. And we all throughout, as we're going through this, we feel, and I definitely encourage you to stop this video and also read this a little bit, because it's worth it. It's really, really good. But eventually all this part is going to lead into the unique mechanism of the solution here, which is the stem cell itself. Like, stem cells, they basically help you with anti-aging. And then this whole part, it basically starts explaining how the unique mechanism of the solution works. And Stefan Georgi is the person who invented this concept of the unique mechanism of the problem and the unique mechanism of the solution. And normally he has the unique mechanism of the problem first and then the solution, but in this case it's kind of switched up. So first we get introduced to the unique mechanism of the problem, of the solution, and then we get introduced to the unique mechanism of the problem. I don't know exactly why he did this, but probably it made sense to do it like this, because I don't know, maybe the copy just naturally led into the unique mechanism of the solution and then he wanted to cover it first. Maybe this is more important, so it's worth it to put it up there like earlier in the copy so that more people are going to read it, and then the unique mechanism of the problem isn't necessarily so important here. I don't know exactly the reasoning behind that, but I'm sure it's super effective. So we get some very easy to understand text here. As you read this, I'm not going to read it now because it's going to take forever to like shoot this video, but as you can see, it's very easy to read, very easy to understand. It's written at like a 6th grade reading level or something, even though we're talking about very, very complicated topics like molecular biology and stuff like that. But it's there to like get people more interested in the idea. But as we're giving them rational arguments here and logical stuff, it's also a great idea to just put in some common pain points for our target audience as well, so that we also remind them of the emotional side of it, not just the logical part of it. You don't want to engage their logical minds too much, not at this point at least, because then that might lower conversions. So after explaining the unique mechanism of the solution a bit, we bring in some more examples. For example, heart attacks, which is, I think it's a major fear in this target audience. And we just generally have more reasons why behind the unique mechanism of the solution. And notice how, you know, God-gifted supply. We have all these little snippets here, which are always intentional. It's there to just build more rapport with the target audience here. They probably believe in God on average. So then, interestingly, after mentioning and explaining the unique mechanism of the solution here, then we get an introduction to the unique mechanism of the problem here. Like there's a major problem, and the problem with this nice solution is that as we age, our stem cells also age, and that's the problem. That's why we get old. That's why we have all these ailments. But you know, if you pay attention, I'm gonna explain how you can basically shortcut this, or how you can avoid this grim fate that happens to most people. So we set expectations a little bit, and also by reminding them of the benefits and the benefits of the benefits. This is again something Clayton Makepeace always said, that it's important to not just give people benefits, but dimensionalize those and also give the benefits of the benefits. So check this out how Stefan Georgi did it in this case. He said, because once you understand why aging adult repair stem cells are so dangerous to your health, you'll also be able to understand exactly what's needed to fix the problem, so that you can ensure you live the longest, healthiest, and most energy-filled life possible. So it's not enough to get the benefit of understanding stem cells. It's also important to highlight the benefits of those benefits, which is to live a long, healthy, energy-filled life. And then we get some valuable content. We have 2 reasons here. This is reason why copy. It does a little bit of belief shifting as well, meaning that it makes people, it builds the case that, you know, this is indeed the case when it comes to aging or anti-aging, and it's some valuable content that's also interesting. And you know, Gary Bencivenga always said that you should make your advertisement itself valuable, because people don't want to read your ad, they read stuff that's interesting to them, and sometimes that's an ad. In this case, this is an ad. And the reason why people read it is because it's damn interesting, and it's always there. It always grabs people with something nice. So we have reason number 1 with some proof. Reason number 2 why, you know, stem cell problems can be a problem, with some specifics here as well. You see, we're starting to get to mention people like MDs and PhDs and medical doctors and stuff like that. And then Doesn't just explain why the body heals slower as we age. It explains why we age, period. So we even get a logical explanation to the age-old question of like why we age, and how we can slow down our aging process itself. And then again, at this point, this is very advanced, guys. This is very, very intense. Don't worry if this at this point seems like too much to you. Don't worry about it. This is like a true high-level masterclass of these sales letters. And make no mistake, like even Stefan Georgi doesn't write something like this right off the bat. He rewrote it probably many times over. He did a lot of great research, and that's the whole crux of the whole equation, doing a lot of research, and then the magic happens in the editing part itself. Obviously, he's a great copywriter, so he probably, like, his whole RMBC method is about creating like winner sales letters in less time than in most systems preach. But at this point, since we gave people a lot of rational arguments, we also switch back a little bit to the emotional part. So we say this doesn't just explain why the body heals slower as we age, it explains why we age, period. And we also get this philosophical question of like, have you ever been shocked by how a friend or loved one seemed to just grow old overnight? And he gives a personal example of his mother, again, how there was a nightmare story, and it's scary. Like, as the target audience is reading this, they're like, oh shit, I gotta do something about this. So the copy says, yet I bet you know someone who has experienced the same thing, and watching the people you love dearly fell apart right in front of you is a gut-wrenching experience that none of us should have to suffer through. It's really powerful stuff. And yeah, it's important to agitate these pains a little bit, because otherwise people will not buy. So after this point, we shift again a little bit. Just like the lead had introduced these various concepts in a short trailer-like form, we kind of open up those little concepts here. And now is the time that we focus on the conspiracy nature of it once again. So the subhead says, so is it any wonder that doctors and celebrities alike are so obsessed with stem cells? Well, interesting, right? We reiterate the promise for people, because at this point it might be too much for people, and then we just put it in very simple terms how and what stem cells actually do. We contextualize this whole thing and reiterate the promise once again. And then we give some more valuable content, which feels like a news report, but also shift to how basically this unique information is silenced, because many people don't want you to know about it. So even though first we get a lot of proof elements, like imagine this proof element, like 22 Nobel Prize winning scientists joined forces with hundreds of A-list celebrities, Brad Pitt, Michael J. Fox, Dustin Hoffman, Larry King, Dick Van Dyke, Nancy Reagan, and all these, they created something called Prop 71 in California, which set aside $3 billion for stem cell research. And then since then, here are a bunch of other proof elements here and case studies, so that at this point the reader really feels like, this thing is real. I mean, I doubted it until this point, but this is something, wow, like truly a unique new opportunity, and I gotta pay attention. But here's the problem. The rich and the famous don't want you to know about it. And this is the conspiracy aspect that I talked about a few seconds ago. This creates anxiety in the reader, because it assumes that celebrities, the common enemy, the corrupt politicians or something like that, they want to take it away from you. So at this point, until this point, we talked so much about building up the value of these stem cell things, of like how, this is something really unique and special, and it's something that is going to change the world, and it's going to revitalize your life, and it's available for everyone, and here's all the proof, but you can't have it. And this is like a punch in the gut for the reader, and they're like, oh shit, how can I can't get it? It's very powerful. It moves a lot of emotions here, and we mentioned that, even though, this is there, I mean, at this point, it's not even like you can't really get it. At this point, it's still like, hey, this is super expensive, even though the science is cutting edge. And look at all these celebrities here, like stem cell therapy helped golfer Jack Nicklaus's back pain to vanish. All these celebrity, basically news reports, just screenshots of them. It really shows that the higher class of people, they're using this. So it's normal for them. The perceived thing here that we want to convey is that this is normal for people. But what is the future of stem cell therapy looks like, or how does it look like for us normal people, for mortals? And I like how he says, us, because we're in the same group. I'm here to help you. This is the type of context that we want to establish here, that I am with you, and those celebrities, they're the outsiders, us versus them. Very, very powerful, and it helps give basically it's kind of like an implicit promise for people, is that, hey, if you trust me, I'm gonna bring you this technology. Just trust me, just stay with me here. And if you're, at this point, we qualify people a little bit. We even say, if you work hard to put food on the table, and check this out, and you go to church, who honor our neighbors, who live life by the good book. Again, very heavy Christian references here. I think we're just as deserving of these miracles of stem cell science as the ultra-rich are. And yet, until now, the price tag has just made the promise of stem cells out of our reach. There has to be out of our reach. That's the problem. And then this teases the unique new opportunity and the unique motivation that motivated our guru guy here to actually spend more time discovering these stem cell things. So he even says there has to be an easier way for people to experience the healing power of adult repair stem cells. And that's why, this ties in with the personal loss, with the mission to save the reader, right? His personal loss of his mother brought him to create a new system, to find something, whatever it takes, and to basically steal the secret from the gods in order to save you, the reader. And that's why you should pay attention. So at this point, we reference the long ignored South Florida study that was teased in the lead. It was like 6 scientists came together 13 years ago, almost to the day. Remember, like, that was an open loop, and now we close the loop. So it's very intentional. Everything is very intentional here. But he mentions this little very, very important meeting of scientists in Florida, and how that theoretically they discovered something even more breakthrough. And at this point, the guru here does something very interesting. It preemptively answers an objection that the target audience is having, which is, he even says that, I was both very excited and also highly skeptical of the research findings of this South Florida study. And it's probably obvious why I was excited, but why was I skeptical? Because, and then we get more into the conspiratorial aspect of it, on why you haven't heard about this before. And this whole thing, frankly, it just seems like a mystery novel to me. Like, it's no wonder why these rich people don't want you to hear about this, because they want to keep it to themselves. And here's what I realized at the end. This is the reason why behind the radio silence. Like, what those 6 scientists found, that they were in that South Florida study. Again, this came from great research. That's why great research is important for copywriters. So there was the study. They discovered a few superfoods that can, just trigger the release of new stem cells, or the revitalization of these stem cells, or something like that. And it makes sense why the rich and powerful don't want you to know about it, because wait a second. Actually, this is the part of it. This is the part of it. So, since this study, this South Florida study here with the 6 scientists, they discovered a breakthrough new way to stimulate these stem cells that doesn't cost $100,000 or $5,000 or even $500. Instead, you simply need to add a select handful of superfoods into your diet each day, and in just a matter of weeks, boom, benefit, painting the dream of people. it solves all your problems. But the obvious problem is that unless you have a stake in the stem cell industry, which is rapidly growing and expected to reach $476 billion in the next 6 years, or you do anything else related to senior citizens, this natural way of supporting your body's own production of stem cells is the worst news imaginable. Because here's an incomplete, so there's more, list of people who do not want you to know about this discovery. So check it out. Research labs don't want you to know about it. Doctors don't want you to know about it. Big Pharma doesn't want you to know about it. Nursing homes, undertakers, nobody wants you to know about it. Because, why? Well, it's because it messes up their whole business models, right? And at this point, you might be wondering, can flooding your body with the pristine, brand new adult repair stem cells really be this simple? Really, does the results of the South Florida study, does it really work? I don't know. I, as the guru, was also skeptical of this. And this builds trust here, which is very important. But, you know, I, as the guru, what's his name? I always forget. Whatever. His name, he, you know, assembled a team and looked at 100 additional studies in addition to that South Florida study one, because if it's so promising and even the rich and powerful want to like banish this information so that it's not available, it must mean that there's something there. And so we went on to take a look at 100 additional studies, and boom, here's proof element, and we found that, you know, there's only like 5 special ingredients that you need to stimulate your stem cell response, but in order to discover those ingredients, you gotta buy the product. And surprise, surprise, now we get into the transition to the product itself, saying that, you know, we started with a list of 100 ingredients, but ultimately we were left with 5 special ingredients and we created an advanced nutrient delivery system. You know, this is a great positioning type of thing, and this is super effective and works for everyone, and it's easy, and here are a few benefits here, and boom, here's the product. It's called Stem Cell Restore. So finally, after like 20 something pages, we get to the Stem Cell Restore part here with the hero shot of the product itself. And just before that, we have like a brief product creation overview. So yeah, it's really powerful, and I'm gonna wrap up this video right now, but in the next one, we still have plenty to go in this sales letter. Check it out. It's still long. It doesn't even load properly yet in Google Drive, but hope you enjoyed this. I can't wait to get back tomorrow to analyze the rest of it. But if you enjoyed it, then please make sure to like the video, share this with others. You can even share it in the Justin and Stefan Talk Copy Facebook group if you want, because I'm sure many people would be delighted to read something from Stefan Georgi himself there, or analyzed, you know. And yeah, if you enjoyed it, then make sure to leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, like it, all that good stuff. So thanks again. See you tomorrow in the part 2 of this.